Hi everyone, Mark Durland here. I often get the question about uphill lies when we're pitching and chipping, and the reason, very obvious and simple reason, is that all of our greens here at Naples Grand are elevated. So if we miss the green to the left or to the right or behind, we find ourselves on an upslope or at the bottom of an upslope to get back up onto the green. But I want to talk more specifically of when we're on an upslope and some things we can do to handle these shots a little more effectively. A couple common problems that I see. One is students take too much loft for these shots, and I'll explain that in just a second, or a too lofted club for this shot. And then the other thing that I see, because of their setup, they tend to hit heavy or into the hill. So we're going to talk about these two things and maybe a few other things, again, to help you hit these shots more effectively when you're playing. So let's discuss the first thing I mentioned, and that's using too much loft. The thing we have to remember is when we're hitting a shot off the upslope, we want the club to travel up the slope. Well, as it's traveling up the slope, I'm adding loft to the club. So effectively, a 52-degree wedge is really going to be a 56 or 60-degree wedge when I make contact. So the ball is going to come out higher than normal. So I'd like to see you default to a little less loft. If it's a 56-degree shot, default to a pitching wedge. If it's a 60-degree shot, default to a 56 or a pitching wedge. It's still going to come out higher than normal, but it'll come out the proper trajectory. It'll make it easier for you to make solid contact from this uphill lie. The other thing I want to talk about is what do I need to do to adjust my setup to not dig into or hit behind the golf ball. Dig into the hill, hit behind the golf ball. Very simply, there's really two things we're going to do here. We're going to move the ball a little forward in our stance, and then I'm going to get my shoulder line a little closer to the slope of the hill. Again, this will allow me to swing up the slope and keep me from digging into or hitting into the slope. So if this is something you struggle with, start to pay attention to what kind of club you're using, and you might find that there's situations where you need to use a 9-iron because the pitch of the slope is so extreme. But first, look at what club you're using. Are you using the proper amount of loft for the shot given? Second thing is my setup. Am I set up in such a way that I won't bottom out or hit into the hill? And then the last thing to consider is we might not always want to play at the flagstick. A lot of times when we're in a funny situation like that, whether it be an uphill or downhill lie, our expectation should be to just make sure our next shot is a putt and that we don't have another chip or pitch from around the green. If I can help you any more with these shots, please contact me at mark@durlandgolf.com or on Twitter @DurlandGolf. Thanks for watching.